Greetings and welcome to the course Crime in America. What I'd like to do in this brief overview, this first video, is just to kind of go over a few things in Chapter 1 and introduce you to the course. I put another video up on using the web courses, and you can review that and review the web course. Take a close look at what's available, and I'll be posting materials throughout the semester. Your exams will be completely online, and the PowerPoint presentations are online. You'll see that I can email you and you can email me online, and I can post announcements online and so on. So I highly suggest you, if you haven't already used web courses, there's also a UCF web course guide that you can use and get some good overviews on running through the system. Chapter 1, Crime and Criminology. I guess what is criminology? And the definition that your author provides is the scientific approach to studying criminal behavior. What you're going to find in this course is that we're going to study a lot of the different theories, and we're also going to study how we define crime and how we make sense of crime, and how we decide what is a crime and what is not, and how it relates to the legal system. So we're going to study crime as a social phenomenon, the process of lawmaking, the breaking of laws and the reaction, and the development of principles related to explanations of criminal behavior. In addition to trying to understand how and why people commit crimes, the motivations, and so forth, we're also going to look at the extent of crime, some of the statistics and data, and try to measure how much crime, which types of crimes occur, and what types of crimes are reported, what are the arrest rates, what are conviction rates for certain crimes, and so forth. And we'll also, within the entire course, always be taking a look at the agencies that deal with criminal justice, the police, the courts, and corrections. We'll also differentiate deviance, which is violations of the norms of a society, from crime, which is actually considered illegal behavior in that regard. One thing I'd like to mention is that often we get a lot of misinformation from the media. I know that's shocking news to you, unbelievable. But the unfortunate feature also is that we often get misinformed, but we get it in quick sound bites, as if we can explain an entire violent episode with a couple of seconds of someone saying, well, this person did this crime because of that. They had a breakup with their significant other. They had a bad family life. They were high on drugs. They watched too many soap operas, something like that. And that certainly, those simple explanations often really don't help us that much. So we'll be looking at much more detail of different explanations, and then we'll also look at the integration of these different theories. I like to kind of think of theories as being based either in, the biological, physiological realm, the psychological area, or the sociological cultural domain, and how we make sense in between those areas. I also like to look at individual behavior, small group, as well as large-scale societal. So there's a lot of different areas that we can address when we look at these theories and crimes. But we're going to review a lot of theories that attempt to explain criminal behavior and criminal thinking and patterns. We'll also look at some very different criminal behaviors as well. Sometimes the definition of behavior changes from criminal to non-criminal and vice versa, and it varies by society. So does how we react to the crime in terms of punishment, and also how we process in the criminal justice system, and also our reactions to victims. We'll see that some of the major views focus on a consensus, that that we have, agreement on what's considered criminal and what's not. Also, conflict, in contrast, that society is composed of diverse groups, and some have more power than others. When we look at crimes in the suites, we'll see the conflict view in play there, and the interactionist view that looks at how people subjectively label and interact with each other as criminal or non-criminal. So we'll often look at the definition of crime and some of the debates related to that. We'll look at some of the laws. We'll look at the extent and nature of crime, and we'll look at some of the features of how we actually try to support these theories by carrying out research and some of the research findings, as well as some of the criticisms and critiques of the theory as well as the research findings. What you're going to find basically is we don't have these clear-cut answers that you see on the news periodically, where someone tells you definitively that this person committed that crime because they had a mental illness. Well, there's over 300 mental disorders in the diagnostic manual of mental disorders, so that really doesn't help us. And then, someone would say, well, they're insane. Well, that doesn't help us either. What is insanity? Insanity is a legal term, not a mental health or psychiatric term. So we see there's a lot of debates between and within the disciplines as well, and a lot of overlap. So we'll certainly, borrow from other fields as well. And I also will spend some more time on areas that I have more knowledge and have specialized within, and less on others where you will get a lot of the very useful material from the textbook. For example, I will talk about genocide at some point, because that's one of my areas of research. Genocide, torture, homicide, and the like. And so I'll probably focus more on some of the areas of my own research in some of these videos, and also reviewing some of the chapter material as well. I always recommend, that you really keep an open mind and realize that many times someone will take a course with me and they'll say, I took the course thinking I'd know all this information and everything by the time it was over. And what they find is they have more questions than answers, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. I think actually that's a positive thing, because it demonstrates a lot more learning and a lot more knowledge and questioning that has occurred. And we'll also look at the nature of knowledge and how technology relates to all of this criminal activity. Very hard to believe, but when I was in college, we did not have to worry about computer crimes. And no, it wasn't because we had good virus protection software. No, because there weren't any viruses out there. No, basically we didn't have access to computers. We used what is now in the Museum of Technology, something called a typewriter. You may have heard of it or seen it at garage sales. I actually was very excited when we moved to the electric typewriter. And so technology changes as well. So we didn't have computer crimes really back when I first started my career many years ago, prior to cell phones, fax machines, modems, computers. Of course, we did have electricity. And so, of course, we have to look at the history of crime and the technological changes, the societal changes, and things change very rapidly, and we're going to have to take a careful assessment. What I say today, we may find doesn't hold in a year or 2 years, or some of the research may change because of the social conditions. So welcome to the course, and I hope you have an enjoyable and knowledgeable experience.